Happiness means business. You've heard us say it before on this channel, but I want to give you a sneak preview because we just gave a TEDx talk up at Harvard University where we talked about why happiness matters, not just because it's nice, but because it's useful. It helps you get more of everything you want out of life, and it helps your business or your company, your organization, your school, your armed forces, even potentially your government to create a better future. So let's just run through some of this. So in the business case, there's some really interesting research out there. Naturally, you can think about things like retention and turnover, maybe productivity and engagement, how when people are happier, all those things go up. But we can take it a step further. There's actually a fund called the Happy Fund, HAPI, that invests in companies with higher benchmarks of employee happiness and well-being. Since that fund was created years ago, it has actually outperformed the market. Research from the University of Pennsylvania suggests that bringing positive psychology and positive emotion into organizations improves employee performance and productivity across the board. And a study out of Oxford University 2 years ago found that happy employees are 13% more productive day in and day out. They just do more even if they work the same amount of time. Final one that's worth considering: in the 90s, Marty Seligman looked at optimism, so sort of happiness and positive outlook in salespeople, and found that they outsold their peers by about 31% over 2 years. So happiness means business, but it's beyond that. In education, there have been interventions that show that when you bring happiness curriculum into school communities, you have, of course, improved mental health, but you also have improved academic performance and higher GPAs. In higher education, bringing happiness curriculum in leads to improved student engagement and student well-being. And then when we look at the military, there was a study of nearly 1 million Army soldiers that found happier soldiers were more likely to win awards for both performance and for courage. And finally, there's a new trend out there with a few nations in the world that are embracing a view of well-being as a measure of government effectiveness, that it's not just economic growth and GDP, that's important, but it's how well do we turn that into societal flourishing where people are safe, content, and well. So happiness really can change the world. So how do we do it? Well, what I shared briefly in this talk, which by the way, I'm going to include some information down below. This is just like the 4 or 5 minute sneak peek. The main thing to consider is how have you gotten good at anything else? How'd you learn to drive a car? How'd you learn to do basic math problems? How'd you learn to, play a sport or play an instrument? You did 2 things. You had declarative learning, which is acquiring knowledge. So a teacher showed you, hey, here's how you drive the car. Here's the wheel, press the gas. Here's how you do the math problem. Your coach showed you, here's how you swing the baseball bat. You watched a video or read a book on here's how to play the piano. But that wasn't enough. You had to actually practice. In the neuroscience, this is called performative learning. So you have declarative and performative. You have study and practice. And by actually swinging the bat, doing the homework, driving the car, you got pretty good at the thing. Happiness is no different. Through study and practice, we learn to be happier. And we do this by focusing on the ingredients for happiness: your physical health, your mental health, and your relationship health. If you got healthy biology, healthy psychology, and healthy relationships, you almost can't help but be happy. So creating that better world we talked about, and a better company or better organization, a better community, that all starts with you and your happiness. I encourage you to invest each day and each week in some study and some practice, taking care of your physical health, your mental health, and your relationship health. And if you do that, you will go far. And if you want the full version of this with more ideas, tactics, and stories, check out my TEDx talk. We'll include some information down below. Profile everywhere, or simply search, Jackson, Kerchis, TEDx talk, the how of happiness and why it matters. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.